Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the law of demand. First of all, this has to do with supply and demand. Remember, we're talking about a market here. Here's the buyers and sellers, the consumers and producers. And our focus, really, in the next couple of sections, is going to be on the buyer and the consumer. This is going to be the theory of demand. Now, demand has a very specific definition in economics. Demand is the ability, willingness, and desire to buy various quantities at various prices. Understand that demand isn't just because you want something that automatically you demand it. You have to qualify for these three issues: the ability, willingness, and desire. So, if somebody's in poverty and they're out on the streets, they may want a new car, but they wouldn't be considered demanding a new car because they don't have the ability to actually pay for it. Okay. I might want a really nice, speaking about a new car, like that. I think that's a Bugatti. Yeah, baby. I might actually desire that, and I probably could put myself into a nasty little bit of debt, but I could probably afford it, so I might like it and I can afford it, but I'm not willing to. I think the opportunity cost from something else is way too high. And then, of course, we have I have no desire to watch Taylor Swift fall on her rear end. Therefore, I'm not in demand for Taylor Swift Eras tour tickets. If I got them, I would hawk them just like Mr. Strongberg. All right, so demand is the ability, willingness, and desire to buy. Now, a demand curve looks like this. Of course, as we already know, a demand curve slopes downwards. And there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity. And what that means is as price goes up, the quantity demanded is actually going to go down. As price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. And as prices of an item goes down, the quantity demanded actually will go up. Okay. Now, this is only occurring if there is a change in price of the item. And it makes perfect sense, right? If the price of something goes up, I'm going to want it less and less. Therefore, there's that downward slope. Okay. We know that at $5, maybe six people are going to want the item. But if you drop the price to $4, the quantity demanded steadily rises. You drop the price to $3, the quantity demanded rises. Drop the price to $2, the quantity demanded rises. And of course, drop the price to $1, quantity demanded rises. This is exactly how you think. Price goes down, I will want more. Price goes up, I would want less. This is where everything, the intersections, hit on the slope of a demand curve. Okay. This idea that if price goes down, price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, and if price goes down, quantity demanded goes up, is known as the law of demand. It's the exact reason why you go places and you'll buy something if it's on sale or if it's on a discount. They're hoping that the price going down is going to drive your desire to actually go buy something. This is why the demand curve is sloped downwards. Okay. Whenever you're dealing with anything having to do with a change in price, always start on the price side. Don't say the quantity is, quantity demanded goes up or down, it impacts price. No, we're talking about a price change here. So look and see what happens in terms of the price change in relation to the quantity demanded down here. All right, so let's just say we have a gallon of milk. How do we figure out what that milk is worth? Well, you ask the question, what's the most you are willing to pay for that gallon of milk? By the way, an economist doesn't want to ask, what are you willing to pay? Because most people are willing to pay nothing for everything. But what we really want to know is what is the most you are willing to pay for like a gallon of milk. And then we can come up with these data points if we ask enough people. At $1, this many would buy it, $2, this many, $3, this many, and so on and so forth. And what that creates is this thing right here, this demand schedule. At $5, seven people would want it, $4, 12, $3, 15, $2, 20, $1, 29. And I can get a lot of information from this because what are consumers willing and able to pay for a gallon of milk? And then this information right here simply becomes that demand curve, right? You just plot these points on the graph: price, quantity demanded, and then bang, you're going to have that curve right there. Okay. Now, why is the curve actually sloping down, meaning why do people actually buy more when the price drops? And you might think, duh, it's cheaper. But of course, in economics, we got to make this thing a little more complex. Okay, we actually have to put some academic language to it. All right. So, first of all, number one is something called the substitution effect. And people that would have bought something else will now buy the good or service because the price actually goes down. So let's say maybe there's a substitute to milk, whether it's dry milk or like really cheap generic milk or whatever, and you wouldn't pull the trigger until the price actually drops to a certain place. Well, then eventually the price drops so much that you're going to substitute what you would normally buy for now a regular gallon of milk. So you become part of the willing, able, and desire for milk when the price drops enough. You're just like, I won't buy what I normally buy. I'm going to jump over to this regular milk. Okay. Then you have the income effect. Basically, as the price drops, you actually feel richer, so you will actually buy more. Like I would only buy 1 gallon of milk if this sucker is at $5 a gallon. But all of a sudden, that thing drops down to $3 or $2 a gallon. I'm not only going to buy 1 gallon of milk, but it's so cheap. Now I'm going to buy more. Look at that, man. It's on clearance. It's $1 off. Now I'm going to buy three. It doesn't matter why somebody wants it or whatever, but it's the reason why, like literally, when prices go down, you're richer. And so you have that income effect that if prices drop, not only would you buy one, you're probably going to buy more than one because you feel richer. Okay, that income effect really starts kicking in. And the final reason is something called diminishing marginal utility. These are people that are only going to buy an item or more than one item if that price gets down to a point where they feel usefulness for it. Because, so milk is a good example. It's a commodity. Let's just say you normally buy milk. But if you buy like milk and then buy it again at the same price, you're getting less satisfaction over something as you buy more of it. So the only reason why you'd buy more of it is if the price goes down to where it becomes actually um, an object of satisfaction. Now, diminishing is less, marginal is one extra unit, utility in economics is satisfaction. And what this is about is the only way I will find satisfaction in something that I buy over and over again is if I actually see the price drop to a certain level. Like businesses, if you notice that businesses will make, let's just say shirts, different colors, they'll put different designs on them, different patterns and all that. And it's because they don't want to suffer from diminishing marginal utility. They know that if you buy a shirt, you're not really going to buy the second shirt if it's the same price, that it's exactly the same. So they make little changes in the shirt, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I still have that. Well, if you have something like milk or lemons or anything that's like the same, regardless of how you buy it, there's no really little changes in it. Companies know that, cool, I ate one donut. It was delicious. I ate a second donut. It was good, but it wasn't as good as the first. I ate the third donut. It was not as good as the first or the second. I ate the fourth donut. Now I'm getting kind of full. Fifth donut. Ugh, it really isn't really tasting that well. Well, that's an example of diminishing marginal utility. All right. And companies know that you're not going to jump on the bandwagon and buy a second of this until you actually see that price start to go down. All right. So remember the law of demand: price goes up, quantity demand goes down, price goes down, quantity demand go up. Remember that this is only occurring if there is a change in the price of an item, and it is movement on the curve, meaning this curve isn't shifting anywhere. Whenever there's a change in quantity demanded, it's due to a change of the price of the item changing, and you're going to be moving up and down this curve. Price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, price goes down, quantity demanded goes up.